Some years ago, I performed an exorcism on a young man who had broken up with his fiancée after a 6-year engagement. Shortly afterward, he began experiencing sudden physical disturbances. Additionally, he found it impossible to find another fiancée or a job for a long period. During the exorcism prayer, it was discovered that the aspiring mother-in-law, unable to accept the breakup, had commissioned an evil spell from a witch. The young man turned to me, and after several exorcisms, his physical ailments nearly disappeared, although he was still unable to find another fiancée or a job. Another case involves a man who opened a shop in a city plaza. The business was doing well initially, but then a competitor opened a store in the same plaza. Suddenly, not even the most loyal customers would set foot in the first shop. In this case, I verified a sort of local infestation and celebrated several masses inside the shop, personally imparting blessings and local exorcisms. Gradually, the customers returned. How did I become aware that something was amiss? The complete and sudden change was too suspicious to be normal. In such cases, where reasonable social or scientific explanations are lacking, it is always appropriate to do something, such as a fine benediction. The evil eye is a different matter, rarer and even harder to identify. It involves casting a spell through the power of a glance, with the aim of sending over the devil. It has nothing to do with popular traditions like carrying a good luck charm or looking cross-eyed at someone. Rather, it involves a true and proper rite. However, I must say that I have never encountered a case clearly tied to this practice. Is a person ever aware of suddenly being subjected to a spell? It is difficult, although theoretically possible, for a person who has been subjected to an evil spell to remain unaware of it throughout their life. Above all, it is necessary to state that spells do not always reach their targets, either because the person is well protected in their life of grace, because God may not permit it, or because the wizard or sorcerer may not succeed, perhaps due to the demon, the prince of lies, deceiving his own followers. Sometimes they hit their mark, and we shall discuss the results in the next chapter when we talk about individual evil spirits, diabolical possession, physical and psychological obsessions, and local infestations. This can happen even after a long time, here, and the place of the evil's initiation, as well as the persons who commission the spell. Sometimes it involves a relationship, even a very old one, characterized by perfidy, hate, and antipathy toward the victim. It is also necessary to know that spells are often inflicted through the preparation of foods to be ingested by the victims. Obviously, it is very difficult to prevent this type of spiritual poisoning. I am often asked if the wizards or witches themselves, those who cast the spells, are always necessarily possessed. I think so, even if they are not aware of it, or do not believe in these things. Magicians, wizards, sorcerers, and witches know that they have certain powers. It is something that gives them immense pleasure, and they use them to make people suffer, which also gives them pleasure. Furthermore, the wizards themselves often fall under the influence of spells, naturally for profit, since they do everything for money. Then, the practice of magic worsens their situation. According to Father Gabriel Amorth, prayer can counter evil spells, and if done with faith and love, it reaches its objective, which is the heart of God. We also know that God Himself will dispose of things according to a plan whose ultimate end is always a greater good, eternal life. Each prayer prayed with this intention is effective, and at times the Lord, in His infinite goodness, will grant us assistance and graces that are much greater than the fruit of our prayer